You know, some people age like a fine wine, and some people age like a can of special brew left on a hot windowsill. Whichever one you are, get ready to talk about those pesky little emotions of yours, because it's time for another episode of I've Had a Rosé, Let's Talk About Feelings. Please welcome your host, Sam Lake. It was me the whole time. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of I've Had a Rosé, Let's Talk About Feelings. I'm very excited about today's guest. It is the marvellous Alexandra Haddow.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. I will ask, and I don't know if you get this asked a lot, Alex or Alexandra?
Alexandra, if you're introducing me to stage. Alex, every other time. It's fine.
Okay.
Only because there's lots of Alexes
There are
on
a
stage,
lot of Alex.
so I feel like it differentiates me a little bit.
Do you have an Alex that you're like, oh, I wish I was that Alex sometimes?
On the spot, I'm like, no, but there must be. I'd quite like to be Alex Jones from The Wonder Show.
She seems like she's got it good, doesn't
Perfect
she?
level of fame.
Yeah, enough where, like, Comic Relief might ask you to, I don't know, climb Kilimanjaro.
Exactly.
But
Get
not-
fit for money.
But not enough. Yeah.
Is how I see it.
But not enough that you might get, like, weird men trying to drink your bathwater or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Probably got a Nando's black card. No intrusion into your personal life.
Do you think?
I think that's the perfect level.
A Nando's black card.
So, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, something on that. A lovely perk without ever being in the tabloids.
I completely agree.
So yeah, I'll take her, please.
Do you like Nando's?
It's all right. If I could have that for sort of my favourite chain restaurant,
Yeah. Restaurant.
that would be lovely.
Yeah.
Which now I'm trying to think, don't even know what that would be.
No.
I do like a Pizza Express.
Very controversial. Very controversial.
Yeah.
Not the one in Woking, I hope.
Not the one in Woking.
Not the one in
I'm barred
Woking.
from there.
Well, it's lovely to have you here. I hope you're excited to talk about some feelings about
I
a
am.
specific topic.
I'm ready. I'm open.
We'll come up wide, gaping,
I'm
ready.
open wide.
Before we come onto the topic, which I'm very excited that you chose, because
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the most angry episode we've done so far.
Start of the revolution, I hope.
I think so. Let's talk about your choice of beverage to enjoy
Yes.
whilst we're chatting. I'm wondering if you chose this to appeal to the Scottish community, because you've chosen a lovely Irn Bru.
I love Irn Bru.
Unironically, you love an Irn Bru.
Yeah, unironically. Oh yeah, I'm from Corby in England, which is, me and my family are all Scottish.
Oh,
So
I did not know.
It's stocked everywhere in Corby. It's
Really?
the biggest shipment of Irn Bru outside of Scotland is my hometown.
What a claim to fame for that
I know,
town.
but I kind of never really have it. I live in London now, and I never really have it. And so when you said choose, I was like, do you know what?
But it's not as easily accessible in London, is it?
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I just assumed growing up that everybody had this level of access to Irn Bru.
Yeah, it is quite like an alarming colour, I will say.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
Colour of rust.
yeah, would it probably take some years off your life? Yes.
Maybe.
Is it worth it? Yes.
Do you have any guesses as to what, like, the magic ingredient is? Because
Well, they say it's girders, don't they? And you have to say it like that.
girders.
Yeah, girders, if you're saying it in
I
our
had
accent.
no idea what I was just saying there.
It's basically
Girders.
like steel, I think.
Oh, like actual metal.
Yeah. That is what a girder is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know.
I just doubted myself there for a second. No, not you.
I didn't mean, no, I wasn't gaslighting you. I'm
Yeah.
sure you know loads about construction.
Yeah. But that's... Do you know what? It was one of those things where I've always said it, and my dad's always said it, because as soon as sometimes they have... It's not as strong as it used to be, Irn Bru, I don't think. It used to take your mouth off.
It's one of those things where you have to work out, has my palate changed as I've grown up?
Yeah.
Or has it
Yeah,
started tasting different? I think it's a mix of both.
I think so. And also, can I just say, diet Irn Bru
No.
tastes of nothing.
Doesn't taste of anything. But have you had the energy one?
I haven't.
That's like...
Is it good?
Something's off with it in that...
Oh my God, that's so good.
Was that satisfying? And a lovely gulp for the ASMR there.
Sorry. Don't kink shame.
No, there's something... You know when something... You know, like the uncanny valley for when things are animated?
Yeah.
And then they get so realistic that they start to not look like the thing they're supposed to be anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what Irn Bru, I think it's called like Irn Bru Extra. Yeah.
I've not actually tried that yet.
No.
And it's become...
You've got one night left in Scotland.
I'm doing it. I'm gonna take that for the Caledonian sleeper and be wide awake.
Oh, are you doing the sleeper train?
I'm doing the sleeper tonight, yeah.
Fan of a sleeper?
Generally, or trains?
Do you like to sleep? The train specifically.
I've done it once before when I was doing Monkey Barrel a weekend up here last year.
Yeah.
And it was fine. I can pretty much sleep anywhere aside from on a plane.
I'm with you on that. I cannot sleep on a plane.
Slightly nervous flyer. So I think my psychology is if anything kicks off, don't worry, I'm alert to save this plane.
Oh, you think that you're going to be the one, like if somebody goes...
survival for myself and whoever I'm with.
Okay.
I mean, it's totally irrational, obviously.
I will say, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself.
Quickly looking at the sort of manual for the plane.
Assessing everyone's like medical status whilst they're getting on the plane, just in case. Well, I have to say that's probably the most natural segue. Talking about travel, because the subject that you've chosen is trains and train etiquette.
Yes,
and we're going to be two people who we can speak with a lot of authority on this subject.
Yes.
Why do you think trains came to mind when I asked you what you wanted to talk about?
Okay, so you said we talk about something that makes you very emotional.
In any way you like.
Capacity. Yeah. It can be happy, it can be sad, or it can be angry. And at the word angry, I immediately started to rage at the train industry and various facets of it. Then people on trains, and I thought, you know what? I've got a lot to talk about here.
We certainly do. Okay, my first question is, because you must have like regular routes.
Yeah.
That you're always on. Do you have a favourite and least favourite train journey?
I have a favourite and least favourite. Actually, I don't have a favourite company, but I have a least favourite company. And thus sort of routes. Avanti West Coast. If you're listening to this is a direct threat. I will find you. I absolutely hate them. I think they're horrendous. I started a petition on the platform when my train got delayed. Wow. For like the third time in a weekend last year. And then I ended up being on dispatches with Ben Elton talking about my petition, which by the way got about 14 signatures, but the producers found it. Yeah. And then they realized I was a stand-up comedian, and of course we travel so much for gigs that they interviewed me about it, and I was raging on there. So I will send you the clip in case you want it. And
I'll just take this moment to thank our sponsor today, Avanti West Coast Trains. That's a fact. You've done what I've often dreamt of doing, of sort of like starting a rally between me and the other people who've been wronged. Yeah, it felt like I was really on the cusp of something, and then nothing happened, and they got their contract renewed. Good, congrats, well Avanti. Done, babes. I will. I'm partial to an LNER. They are not as bad, I feel. Do you get travel sick when you travel? No, not on trains. Not really. No. I find the West Coast harder to navigate because they're monorail trains sometimes. I understand that. A lot of my friends say they feel ill because they tips. They tip. Yeah. I think they're called the Pendolino. Yeah. Or something else. No, it's Pendolino. Pendolino. You're right, yeah. But the East Coast line, it's just very stable. Yeah, it's like a shed on wheels, isn't it? And lovely views. Oh, I mean, coming up here, I love it when you get to Berwick upon Tweed and I text my boyfriend being like, we're doing a tour of Scotland based on some rugged coastline that I've just seen, and just sort of had this fantasy life for myself. Yeah. But you must do this line a lot because you live up here. Quite often, and even when I lived in London, my husband, who is Scottish, hence why I live here now. Lovely. We were long distance for 4 years. Were you? Yeah, and we did, this is naughty, we don't do it anymore, but we used to fly, but then we got, it is such a faff, like putting all of your toiletries in the plastic bag. Also, the flight itself is 50 minutes, an hour, but you have to get to the tube station, to get to the train station, to get the train out to the airport an hour and a half before your flight. Then, like, it's actually not It's
quicker.
not super convenient. No. And then especially if you ever have baggage that you have to wait for at the baggage claim.
God, yeah.
No. So we used to do that, and then we just got better at booking trains in advance.
As soon as I get a gig, I have to just book the train.
That's so that's really good thinking ahead. I leave it to the last minute a lot.
Oh, but that is fueled by my rage that I don't want to give them any money. I'm very unorganised, but with my travel, my agent's always like, "Oh, you're brilliant at that." Done. And I'm like, yeah, because I don't want to give those bastards one penny more.
Was travelling on trains something that you ever did before you got into comedy? Or is it something you've had to adjust to?
Probably like an average amount before.
Right.
Like, I had pals in Manchester and stuff like that. And then I'm from the Midlands, so I used to get the train up there. But yeah, not loads.
Not loads, yeah. So now that you're a frequent, I was going to say a frequent railer, which I don't think is what we should call them.
Oh, I am.
A frequent railer. Do you find, I found the more trains that I take, the easier it is to set me off on a bit of a train rage.
100%.
It literally just takes like one, I'm sure, very well-meaning sort of like middle-aged woman getting on the train with a big old hefty suitcase, a real like porker of a suitcase, and then she says something like, "Oh, it's so hard to find my seat. They don't make it easy, do they?" And then I go like, "Numbers are above the chairs. Numbers are written above the chairs.
They couldn't make it easier. They couldn't make it easier.
The letter for the carriage is written above the door. You just have to look around. You just have to use your eyes, Sharon. That's all it takes. That's all it takes." Do you find that you get easily ticked off now?
100%. I feel like thing is, if you get a nice train journey, I love it. I actually love the train journey.
Very relaxing.
Read a book.
Yes.
I always fall asleep like this. I feel like it's very like therapeutic sometimes.
Yeah.
You're trying to read and like you're enjoying a book even, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm falling asleep. And you're gone. But like last train back to either Edinburgh or London after a gig, quite nice usually, because it's kind of, unless it's Friday or Saturday, it can be quite quiet.
Yeah.
That's really nice. But I feel like wherever I sit, there's either one person that's on the phone at this volume.
Yes. Some people, I've noticed it a lot more. Like I said to you before, I've been on 9 trains this week. It's too many in one go.
Yeah.
But on the last train that got me back home, 3 people answered their phones the same way they answered the phones on The Apprentice, where they have it on speaker and then hold it here.
I don't want to hear you, let alone whoever you're on the phone to.
No.
Stop it.
It's ridiculous.
If you're listening, never do that.
They probably, obviously they have hearing issues, otherwise they wouldn't do what they do. But yeah, do you have, so are there any like mega pet peeves?
Mega pet peeves is, yes, watching videos without headphones.
Insane.
When has this
Unhinged.
become just acceptable? There should be like an ejector seat feature, I think, where like if enough people in your carriage, because you're being I don't know if I can, the C word, fill it in. Because you're being that on the, if enough people press eject, your seat just starts to warm up to an unhealthy degree, and you just have to leave and stand in the the little carriage bit, the little
you're not
watch
so
if you must.
Yes, you're not so cruel that you'll throw them off the train.
No, sure, but
just like
go away.
cook them a bit,
cook them, scold them a little bit, harm them not permanently, but enough that it teaches them a lesson. That's one of my pet peeves. People just talking really loudly. I don't mind like a 5-minute chat where you need to, but when they're just like sat there and just talk at this level rather than this level. It's fine. Have a chat with your pals. But just, I don't need to hear every single thing you're saying. And then sometimes people listen to music so loud in their headphones
that you may as well be hearing it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's very packed. The British rail industry is on its hole. Like, can we just everything's always busy. I'm very close to you.
Yeah.
Can we not? There's a lot of pet peeves.
There's a lot of pet peeves.
So sorry, what's yours?
I think for people on the actual train, separate to like issues with the train itself, I think it is seat reservations. I really don't think it's that hard. Like if your ticket says C24, you go to carriage C, you sit in seat number 24.
Yeah.
And that's it. Can I tell you, so on one of the trains this week, the train I was supposed to get got cancelled. Oh my God, love. jizzed in my pants. And
The
then
dreamy. Full delay repay.
Full delay repay. We'll come on to that.
I'm going to type that into Pornhub when I get back tonight.
Because sometimes if you're going somewhere and you don't, it was like, I don't have anything to do tonight. If you hold me on the train for 2 hours, all I'm thinking is, oh, this is a free ride, baby.
Yeah, literally 61-minute delay.
Shit. Oh,
Yes,
love,
please.
love. But I was on this train, so that train was cancelled. My husband, being the very like plan ahead person that he is, was just like, go online, reserve a seat on the next train that you can get.
Oh, that's a good shout.
So I managed to reserve a seat, and I'm thinking, that's good.
That.
Won't have to fight for a seat. I get onto the carriage, and 2 people just go onto the seat that I'm supposed to be on. So I go over and I'll be like, oh, is this your seat? Because I actually think I've got it reserved. And they're like, oh no, these are our seats, and show me the ticket. And I was like, yeah, so these are so you had this seat on the train that was cancelled, but I've got it reserved now.
Yeah.
And I could have stood my ground and had like an Erin Brockovich moment, but it was a man and like quite an old mother accompanying him. And you just know that if someone was filming that and they were just...
Comedian Sam Lake in rude train.
Comedian Sam Lake. I mean, I think it'd be very unlikely that they knew who I was. They'd be like, mustache middle-aged man throws elderly woman off train. So I had to go and find another seat somewhere.
I had it on the way up to... So I was trying to think about it now. I think I've been on 6 trains this week, so you beat me by a long way. But I was getting the train up from London to Leeds before I was up in Edinburgh now. Right. And so they did that thing where the train was half the size. Okay. So I had F48.
Yes.
There was no F.
No F.
So therefore
they could not give you an F.
Yeah. So not an F in my future. And so they basically did that annoying thing where then they say, well, all seat reservations are null and void, right?
Yeah, the purge.
The purge.
Yeah.
Every man for himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just sat in this seat and then this old guy came along, not super old, but maybe like 60. He came along and he went, that's my seat. And I said, sorry, I think they've actually... By the way, this one was free next to me.
He had options. Yeah. I
said, I think they've just, they've taken it all off, but that one's free. Do you want to just sit in that one? And he was like, no, I want to sit in that one.
Yeah.
I'd like got on my back, I was eating a sandwich. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I was enmeshed with the train. I was one with the train.
You were settled.
Yeah, I was settled. Yeah. Settled, coat, jacket, out, everything. And then I was like, oh, right, okay. And I sort of stood up and then he went, I guess I'll sit here. And I was like, yeah, I guess you fucking will. He went, I like to watch the world go by. And I was like, watch it from there. You're 12 inches to my right. Do you know what I mean? You can see out the window.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my other gripe.
It's like when people tell me stories like this, so I get stressed for them.
Yeah.
Like my heart rate's up.
Yeah.
My Fitbit's going off.
Yeah. It's on fire.
I'll tell you another thing that I don't care for most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can be in the mood for it. And often it happens. Are you an individual seat girly, or do you like to sit at a table?
If it's busy, right, I think as frequent trainers, we've realised, frequent railers.
Frequent railers.
We've realised that what you think is luxury isn't, right? Because if you're on your own and it's a busy train, very different if it's not very busy.
Yeah.
And you sit with a table, you've got 3 potential morons that can surround you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in a 2, you've got 1 potential. 1
potential. Also, if you're sat in the individual, no blocking of the legroom.
Yes, exactly.
No blocking of the legroom. You know if you're sat at the table, especially if it's 3 lads who sit next to you.
Yes, that's so good.
They're
I've never
not
even
keeping
thought
their
of that
legs
as well.
together.
Yeah, and neither should they.
They are spreading.
Very much so.
One time, so the reason I say I don't like it some of the time and other times I do is when people want to make the train a bit of an experience and maybe make a train friend.
Oh, so, I had the panic with that guy. He sort of started chatting to me and I was like...
Let's keep conversation to a minimum, please. Yeah. But I've had it... So once I was getting the train back home to Cornwall.
Yeah.
And I booked a seat at a table. This was in my youth. I was young and naive. I didn't realise that at these 2 tables...
Babes, I'm already worried for you.
It was Hindu.
Oh.
Hindu booked the other 7 seats at the table.
No.
And a part of me was just like, you know what? Good on you for managing to book that many seats next to each other.
So I was sat in the corner, and then the 7 of them were all sit there. And this was in the time where paper tickets were still sort of like de rigueur. But I was ahead of the time, and I'd ordered through the app. So I had an electronic ticket. So the man had his like little scanner out. I kid you not. I had my thing there. He scanned the ticket, and one of the women in the hen do looked at me and went, "Oh my God, he's got his ticket on his phone. Isn't that impressive?" And then she said, "Isn't it amazing what the Chinese are capable of?" And I still don't know how to process that. What did she mean?
Did she think you were Chinese?
She's... Leave a comment underneath. Do I look Chinese? It was just so like...
What a weird comment.
It was so strange.
What did you say? Just like, God, yeah.
I said, yeah, I think they've got some good points. What do you say to that?
I'd love it if you just had some chopsticks in your bag. He was like, yeah, I know, right?
but that, and then I just said, but I don't even know what they did for the rest of the trip. I was just like, she just said that about the Chinese. And I was
oh my God.
Wild, absolutely wild. But then another time, similar situation, group of Huns, basically.
Yeah.
Different train.
Canned wine.
Yes, canned wine. I was sat, same deal, in the corner of 2 tables, and they all sat there. I don't judge anyone for having a secchi on the train.
Yeah,
you
sure.
do you, enjoy it. Especially
live your
if
life.
you're celebrating, good for you.
Yeah.
And I think they could tell that they might be like making a spectacle of themselves. So they looked at me as I think they were pouring like cherry sours into like red Solo cups. And they were just like, "I'm sorry, is this a bit much?" And I looked at them and I was just like, "Do you know what? You do you. Actually quite admire the behaviour. You're not bothering me at all, don't worry."
Yeah.
So then they gave me a cherry sours.
Yeah.
And I don't
That's
think...
quite nice.
You shouldn't take alcohol from strangers on the train.
But in this scenario.
It was fine.
Yeah.
A couple of Huns, they're not going to do me any wrong.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, of course.
Yeah, very lovely.
Also, I think that sort of eases your, isolation from it.
Yes.
Like, you've had a drink, you've sort of made peace with them.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to make for a slightly nicer journey for you. Mm-hmm. So at this point, though, I'm wondering, are you attracting the Huns?
I mean, they're very much my key demographic. They're very much my key demographic because I don't think I strike people as like... I think if you saw me walking down the pavement at nighttime, you'd feel fine. I don't think I give off big threatening vibes.
If anything.
Just a little tip of the cap.
Yeah. Just like...
Yeah. But yeah, so like I'm not always in the mood to make a friend on the train.
No, I'm very much not. I feel like our jobs are quite social. We are quite social people, but I feel like the train for me is like the
little safe space,
the chill time. I've done it sort of a lot of times. I don't know if I always think you couldn't have an affair as a comedian because how many times do you bump into another comedian on like a train or a random thing or a random city or like we're like rats,
station.
Honestly, we're everywhere.
We are.
And I've done it. I've really respected this with comedians where we've been on, different gigs. It's not like we've been on the same one or anything. And we get on, the last train back or something and you're a bit knackered and you see each other and you both just sort of do and just sit separately. So much respect for that.
Yeah.
If it's someone you actually know, you don't mind because you can sort of properly you don't mind sitting in silence for a bit and just chilling out.
But sometimes it's like you will have it where they like see you and they're more excited to see you than you are to see them.
Yeah,
not just with comedians, but with anybody.
Please no.
And then you have to do one of these where you go, take the headphones out.
Oh no, that's giving me anxiety thinking about it now. I did it last time I was on the sleeper actually. I saw a comedian and he saw... Well,
they were in your bed?
I thought... Oh no, I was in the seat, darling.
Right.
I'm an absolute cheapskate.
Oh, is it cheaper? But they're like sort of like reclining.
Yeah,
seats.
That's why I got it. By the way, the sleeper nationalised. Did you know this?
I think I did know that.
So yeah, so it's
£50.
To get the Caledonian sleeper.
That's so reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a cabin, it's expensive.
More expensive, but if you just get a regular seat.
But literally, I got a regular seat last time. I brought my blanket and eye mask this time because I'm prepared. I know. I got a tartan blanket last time I was up here. Yeah. Big seat, reclines quite far, very spacious, loads of leg room. Blanket, little eye mask, headphones in. Dreamy. And just as I was about to put the eye mask on, another comedian walked in who was obviously getting this like after a gig as well. And we both just sort of were like... pretend we haven't seen each other. Because you're about to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I thought he'd seen me actually. And then I think he did the fake out because I was like, oh, I saw you last night, but I didn't want to sort of, and he was like, oh, I didn't even see you. I was like,
I'll do that sometimes
if
I've seen someone, but I think we both want our space. I'll message them after the train journey's over and be like,
same.
Did I just see you?
So I don't seem rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you the type of person, just something that you said there reminded me, are you the type of person, because we're on trains all the time, are you getting out a laptop? Are you doing work?
Only if I have to.
If you have to.
Yeah. I'm
Emergency
usually
situations.
like then I will try and get a table and stuff. But this brings me to another gripe.
Please.
Train Wi-Fi. The biggest oxymoron you've ever heard in your life. Why? Why? Like, we can do electronic tickets thanks to the Chinese. We've got the technology to do that.
Yeah.
We've got the technology to put everything on the head of a pin and make it tiny. We've put a man on the moon. We're destroying the world at an alarming rate through technology. AI is going to ruin us all. Well done on that. But we can't make Wi-Fi work on a train.
No.
Why?
I never use the Wi-Fi on a train. I hotspot from my phone.
Same.
Have to. You have
Absolutely
to. The only way I can sort of think about it is that, well, if my phone doesn't have a good signal, I don't know why the train Wi-Fi would have a good signal.
Yeah.
But then it's like the train Wi-Fi signal is just worse.
Yeah, but it connects and says it's fine, but then does nothing.
Does nothing.
So you're sat there and you're like, well, I may as well just put it back on 4G.
And filters out a lot of stuff. I'm a Google Docs girly. I love using Google Docs.
Yeah.
Doesn't work on train Wi-Fi.
Nope.
Doesn't work.
Never does.
Yeah.
And do you know, I heard that the trick is to apparently sit in the nearest seat to first class because apparently their Wi-Fi works.
No.
I know. It's a class war. Let's take over.
I did not know that.
I've heard this.
They get better Wi-Fi.
Apparently they get Wi-Fi that works. And they are always on their laptops in there.
They do, because it does give off sort of like, I've simply got to work whilst I travel.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
always working and I'm always travelling.
That's another gripe as well when it's like 4 carriages of first class, 4 carriages of standard class.
Makes no sense.
1 of first class, make them fight to the death. 7 of normal.
Have you ever ridden in first class though?
Only, like the last time I can remember was when they used to do that thing when it was Virgin West Coast. Like,
yes.
They
and
used to do a £10 upgrade, which I did once, and it was lovely. And maybe once when I got booked to train for work, like not comedy. I think once I got booked to train for my old job, and I think they accidentally did first class.
Oh no.
I know.
Oh.
And the woman came around and she was like, tea and biscuits? And I was like, oh, I haven't got any cash. She was like, it's free, darling. I was like, I could not have worn a sign more that was like, poor.
That is the thing. Anytime that I managed to get a first class, it used to be sometimes back in the day that on rare occasions
there was like a loophole where it was cheaper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which made no sense, but you weren't going to question it.
Absolutely.
Especially if it was an early morning train and be like, well, I would love a full English on the way to wherever I'm going. Why wouldn't I?
Thing is, there's nothing more luxurious than really good train travel.
Yeah. There's something nice about something that if you had it whilst not moving, just on land, you'd be like, this is actually quite rubbish.
Yeah.
But there's something about a stale piece of shortbread whilst you're moving at 120 kilometres an hour. You're just like, I'm sorry,
yes,
am I
please.
part of the royal family?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Where you can't even smell a poor person.
No.
You know, you just,
no.
The room.
I hear they have different air in first class as well, so you can't sniff. But do you know the secret? I think it only works on the East Coast Railway. Do you know about Seat Frog?
Tell me now.
Do you know about Seat Frog?
I've heard about this.
I will say, recent years, it's not worked as well for me. But basically,
come on.
Instead of paying for the first class ticket or paying for the upgrade if you've already got one, you can bid for a seat in first class if they're still free.
Yeah.
And sometimes, if you're lucky, if it's like a particularly free train, you can get sometimes I've got a first class upgrade for £12.
Really?
Yeah.
And on a long journey, that's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You can rinse them of enough tea and biscuits that would be worth it.
Tea and biscuits, yes. Let's not forget, if you're on at the right time of day, you're getting plied with alcohol.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
this is a new world.
And the thing is, you want it so that if you're in first class, Have I ridden first class quite a lot? Yes, sorry. It's like, I call it my little Tory treat.
Yeah.
So if you're sat in first class, they'll give you like the coffee, the tea and the biscuits.
Yeah.
If you're there at the right time of the day, they'll give you a meal. And then the rest of the time, they're bringing you little miniatures or a glass of wine.
Oh my God.
It's like
being on a plane.
It is. But I tend to go for the miniatures because if you don't feel like them on the train, you can just stick them in your bag.
Perfect.
And then they'll just bring you another one. And the trick is, and I don't know what generalizations I'm making here, the person who goes through with the trolley, you want that person to be the campist person.
Yeah.
Someone who's like, it was the last train into Edinburgh and I was in first class and I thought, this is great. And it was the last train. So they were like clearing the trolley.
Yeah.
And so she saw, because I'd not been putting them in my bag, I still had like 2 like gin miniatures.
Yeah, yeah.
And she was just like, do you want another gin? And I was just like, oh, do you know what? I've already got 2 and I had a couple already. I'll probably be fine. And she was like, no, we're just going to get rid of them anyway. They'll just go in the bin. Here, just take them. And she handed me like 4
incredible.
from the tray. Just clearing it out.
What an absolute dream.
Yeah. Love it.
That's incredible.
Absolutely love it.
I love that.
Yeah. It's really good. But
see, we've balanced it. Sometimes nice things happen.
Sometimes it's nice.
On the extortionately overpriced trains.
But you have to do it. It doesn't work as well now, I think, because it's maybe a bit more well known.
Oh, right.
So usually the upgrades are going for something like £30-35.
Yeah.
And it very much depends on your mood and the train. If it's a 4.5-hour train, I could be tempted.
And you're in like one of those coaches where it feels like a zoo.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, do you know what? 30 quid for my sanity for the next 4 hours.
Yeah, sometimes it is just worth it.
Yeah.
It is. So definitely give that a try the next time that
I'm going to.
I think you should.
Thank you so much.
I don't know if there's a first class on the sleeper train, unfortunately.
No, I think there's like seat, then there's kind of a bed in a cabin, with like a 4-bed cabin, and then like there's a private cabin. But that's quite extortionate. But you are getting a lovely experience.
It's a lovely experience. And I don't know if you get this sometimes on YouTube. Sometimes I get recommended videos where it's just somebody vlogging their experience doing the sleeper train or like some kind of like luxury travel all over the world.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like a fancy train in Switzerland where the roof is made of glass and you just
I would
look out.
love to go on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit pornographic, I think.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm putting that on tonight.
Yeah, I think
on
you should.
On the sleeper.
In front of everybody.
Yeah. Loud, without headphones.
Hope it's a thick blanket. Okay. Now
Absorbent.
So I think so. I would say we haven't really talked with anger for a lot it's this so far.
No, but my real anger is sort of the prices of the trains, private rail generally.
It's gone up,
and my quite sexual obsession with Mick Lynch.
In that,
the head of the unions,
just a man who's
just
sort
a man
quite
who's
competent
and just trying to get people a fair deal and essentially. Yeah. Trying to get the workers a fair deal, trying to stop the guys at the top getting all the profits.
Yeah.
And I went to a football match in Greece with my boyfriend because he supports Ireland, and it was Ireland versus Greece, and Mick Lynch was there.
Was he?
And we tried to, for a quite embarrassing amount of time, to find him and get a selfie, but we didn't find him. But I often think I just wanted to shine the Mick Lynch bat signal into the sky when I've been when I've been overcharged for a train. Because another thing that Avanti West Coast do, if you're asking me to get angry,
I'd love it, is
they don't release the prices for some trains until quite last minute.
Yes.
So that they can then charge loads. And it's like, but you can't just wait till 2 weeks before and then say, well, it's £95.
It's crazy. Because sometimes I think a lot of train companies do that.
Yeah.
Where it's actually cheaper to buy if you buy it a bit nearer to the time, like maybe a month before.
Yeah. Because
otherwise they'll just charge you the most ridiculous prices.
It's absolutely insane.
Insane.
I think we end up, because now do you do a lot of the split fare stuff where it's like, I think it does it automatically for you now.
Every now and again it works out cheaper to like stay on the same train but book one ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think as comedians we're all like, have you heard about this trick? Have you heard about that? Have you heard about if you do this?
Yeah, there's like a secret website where it like books each leg of the trip individually. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm all for like a good like train hack. Either for comfort on the train or
100%.
for actually booking the ticket. 100%.
Also, I hate it when, it's absolutely packed. They fucked up. One train's been cancelled. So there's 2 people's worth of trains and all this blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. And then they go, and we don't have a buffet car. And you're like, okay, just a like cup of tea and a Twix would have made this sort of bearable.
There is nothing worse than knowing you're about to get like a 4.5-hour train and you've, for whatever reason, absolutely rushed it to the station.
Exactly, yeah.
You've not had time to pop to the little Waitrose at King's Cross to get yourself a ham and cheese croissant. You've not had time to get your snacks. So you think, it's fine, I'll just get them on the train. And they're going like, oh, the buffet car is, I don't know. We forgot to put it on.
Yeah, we forgot to put it on. What we like. We set it on fire last night. Lol.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, some of the toilets aren't working. The escalators aren't working at the station. There's no Wi-Fi and everyone smells of cheese on this train and you're going to be bundled in with loads of cases. Anyway, at least it cost you £180. But private rail is working.
Also, some of the chairs have just been replaced with giant dildos.
Yes.
And so you're literally just going to get fucked on this train.
Yes, which would be... Enjoy it, babes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But is there a part, so I think because we were saying before, sometimes when you're on the train and you look at how much it's been delayed, it's on the cusp between 29 minutes and 30 minutes and you think...
I was 29 minutes all the way up here and then it was 33 in the end.
Oh, yes.
Half back.
Yes. Some of them, you still get a refund even if it's only 15 minutes. It's a smaller refund.
You get a quarter back, I think.
A quarter back.
If it's the player. Yeah, I think you get a quarter if it's 15 minutes, half if it's half an hour.
Yeah.
And the full amount if it's cancelled or
I've definitely
over an
been
hour.
on trains where I think I've tweeted at like Lumo or something.
Yeah.
Just being like, look, we left 29 minutes late. If for whatever reason the driver just needed to stop just to, I don't know, have a Kit Kat or something, we're in full support of that in this car.
And I feel like the drivers sometimes, they're on our side.
Yeah. If somebody told me that it was coming out of like the rail workers' like paychecks, all of the refunds, then I would be like, okay, fine.
No, of course, yeah.
But if it's just coming out of some bigwig's profits, I hope.
Take them for all their worth.
Yeah.
I also feel like the drivers, they're always like fighting for a better deal. I feel like they're sort of men of the people.
Yeah.
The staff are kind of like the people in the buffet car. They're kind of they're always really nice, and the people with the like tea trolley and stuff. And then you get the odd like ticket check person who I can only imagine Google's drowning puppies in their spare time and gets off on it. And you've maybe like you've booked the 8:05 and you've got on the 8:15 and they act like, well, that's another £380. And you're like, I will set this train alight, right?
If you can't afford that, we've got some people at your mum's house. They're ready to take her. Yeah.
It literally is like, it was 10 minutes later. There's nobody on this train. Like, what?
Because sometimes you're lucky and you just get someone who's just like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry. I'm not going to do it. I think if I were the ticket person, I was like,
I know, but that's why I think they must find them, like people that have been wronged or people that have, going through a divorce or something. Like I think that's how they recruit for the ticket check.
They like to wear a heavy boot when they're walking down the carriage so you can hear them coming.
They do. And I feel like I've heard people getting screwed over for tickets and stuff before. I've been like, they have bought a ticket. Like, why is this such a big thing? It's clearly a mistake, or they've clearly just run a bit late, or sometimes got on the one a little bit earlier. Why not?
Yeah. I think if it's someone who's bought like a ticket from like Penzance to Aberdeen, or they're on that train, but actually their ticket only takes them as far as Slough, then I think, maybe you have to step in.
No, I'm talking about when people literally are on the right route, but they maybe got the one after.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And you're like, you don't have to charge them again or whatever it is. They sometimes like, well, actually, this one was actually £35. Well, they're on the same fucking train. Yeah. And the service is shit. Yeah. And it smells of poo. And like the whole thing, there's like a million people on the train. Fuck off.
Do you think trains are getting hotter?
Yes.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
100p. That's why I can't stay awake on them, I think.
Because it's because they're so warm, you're too relaxed.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, no, this is actually, I'm so wet.
Yeah.
This is a wet ride. I'm soaked from head to toe and it's all my own juice. There's a better way of saying that, isn't there?
And that's because you're, watching those lovely train journeys.
Watching those lovely trains. And this is why I don't like it when people talk to me on the train.
That's why you're soaked.
I'm too busy getting wet.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Have you ever, before I ask you the last little bit, can you think of a time where you've had like a proper meltdown on a train?
I have had like everything go wrong at once, definitely on quite a few journeys where one's been cancelled, then one's been late, then everyone piles on, so you have to sit by the toilet.
Yeah.
And then somebody's loudly talking.
Yes.
And you can't get a cup of tea. And then you feel like Michael Douglas at the start of Falling Down. You're like, this is where I go into my rage era.
Yeah.
And if one person pushes me over the edge, I swear to God. I've had a few, not even one springs to mind. That's how many I've kind of had.
It happens too often, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have you ever been caught having to, like if it's a super busy train and you didn't book in time for a reservation, you got to sit in the little bit in between the carriages?
Yeah, I've done that.
Oh, you feel dirty.
You really, it's like having a nap in your clothes, isn't it? You wake up, you feel dirty no matter what.
I fell asleep in my glasses this week.
Similar feeling.
Felt like a whore.
Yeah, and you
Felt
are.
like a whore. And I am one.
It is that feeling when you're in that carriage. You just do feel like,
You just feel like somebody's left a £20 note on the side table and just feel like,
I'm vermin.
So to wrap this up, because I feel like we talked about a spectrum of feelings
I've
on
really
the train.
unleashed.
Dan,
I was
thank
worried that
you.
I really was
Thank
worried
you
that I
for
wouldn't have
being
enough.
brave.
Thank you for letting me live my truth.
No, absolutely. It's a safe space.
Yeah.
But I sometimes think, my husband said, because obviously once I get home off a train, I see my husband, I'll tell him everything that was wrong with the train, even if it was relatively fine.
Yeah.
I'll be like, this family came on, they had 2 kids. I don't think children should be allowed on trains. Sorry, I said what I said.
I have those thoughts and I'm like, it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. Shut up.
Two girls on, sorry, I was about to say 2 girls, 1 train. They were on the train.
Very different film.
What do you think is a reasonable thing to eat on the train? Maybe a sandwich, maybe a little.
What was it, like kippers or something?
A full doner kebab.
No!
2 full doner kebabs, 1 each. And then they lied about not having their bank cards with them so they wouldn't have to pay a ticket, and they just got off at the next stop. Unhinged. But
very unhinged.
I think I secretly, no matter how angry I get on the train, I do love complaining about it afterwards.
I know what you mean.
It feels like
I always give my boyfriend
thing.
like a full rundown.
A blow by blow.
A blow by blow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Look, I've been watching this train journey on the train. Let me give you a blow by blow.
A blow by blow. But it's nice, isn't it? I feel like you get to sort of unleash, you get to feel a bit of anger.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I don't normally feel angry.
No, I'm not an
most of the
angry
time.
person. No.
But when you do get to feel angry and then you get to tell someone about how angry you felt, I do think it is quite nice and cathartic.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
A little outlet. Maybe we need the trains.
Wow.
Maybe the real journey was the anger we amassed along the way.
Maybe we just got a first class sleeper to our hearts. Oh. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? We can't top that.
No, we can't. I love that. What a lovely ending.
What a lovely ending. Lovely ending talking about the trains. Honestly, great choice of topic.
Thank you so much.
Love
I feel cleansed after that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel a little bit cleaner.
Yeah.
I do.
And also if Mick Lynch is watching, which I assume he will be.
He loves the show.
We'd love to go for dinner with you.
Yes, we'd love to go for dinner. Where do you think you would go for dinner?
Oh, I think we'd go to a proper calf.
A calf.
Yeah.
Yeah, or have a fryer.
Yeah.
And size of lards. I don't know.
And probably an Irn Bru, I would imagine.
Maybe I think you'd like an Irn Bru.
Yeah.
Listen, before we let you go, it's time for the last bit of the show.
Okay.
Some quick fire feelings.
I'm excited.
I'm going to tell you some random things and you just briefly tell me how they make you feel.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. First thing, I ask this to everybody, dark chocolate.
Hate it.
Good.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's medicinal. It's not a treat.
It is medicinal.
Yeah.
And I always find when I used to have an office job, it's always the thing that somebody would be like, oh, I like snacking on dark chocolate because it's healthy.
Oh, 100%. It's always the person with 0 personality that does it.
Personality.
sorry, an owl has just entered.
Oh, someone who enjoys a dark cocoa nib there.
Don't we all?
Oh, love a nib. How do you feel about The Masked Singer?
I think it's a crime against humanity. I truly, really, when I watch it, I feel like I'm in the Matrix and something's gone awry.
You didn't love it to find out that like the mushroom was Charlotte Church?
It was, I mean, when it was Alan Johnson watching, was it Will I Am react to Alan Johnson, the former Labour MP?
Rita Ora looked at Alan Johnson and was just like...
Yeah, that was incredible. To be fair,
wow.
my mate worked on it as a producer and we were all slagging off. We had to watch, so me and Rich Spalding, another very lovely comedian,
yes.
And his girlfriend was working on it. We had to watch quite a lot of it because she was about to work on it. And we were all living together at the time.
Yeah.
And I am ashamed to say that despite hating it, me and Rich one night found ourselves just like... on YouTube, sort of binge watching reveals.
Yeah.
So I've revealed myself there, but I do hate it in general. Yeah.
It's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Also, sorry to the camera, because when you said, oh, I know someone who works on The Masked Singer, I think I genuinely licked my lips. As soon as you said it, I went, lovely.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the rise of Malden sea salt?
I feel like a class traitor because I have it and I love it.
Do you like it?
So nice. But they need to find a way where not half of it doesn't escape through the bottom of the box.
Thank you. Yeah. For some things, if I want it on chips, just, salt and vinegar on chips,
yeah,
I will just go to classic table salt.
I don't think you should. You're right there. You're completely right, yeah. But do you like it for something fancy?
It does make a dish feel slightly bougier.
I know.
It does.
It makes me feel like a chef because I can't really cook when just doing this.
I know. Oh, and the other thing... And you know those little crispy onions?
Oh, they're nice.
The little crispy, you just top on some...
I don't have them though, I'm going to get them.
You can buy them. You can buy them in a little tub, a little shaker.
Oh, I'm getting them.
Yeah, for the sleeper.
For the sleeper.
There she's on her blanket, just necking crispy onions.
That's going to be the clip now, isn't it?
Maybe not a clip, but a gif for sure. We'll definitely gif that. Cat Deely, how do you feel about Cat Deely?
I feel conflicted about Cat Deely.
Why?
I'll tell you for why.
Yeah.
I always liked her, but my best mate has an anecdote that everybody takes the piss out of her for because she once met her in Parma and said hello to her, and Cat Deely was very rude. And literally any sort of chance she gets, any link to Cat Deely, if Ant and Decker on the TV, she's always like, to tell you about the time I met Cat Deely and she was very rude. I was like, you mean she was having a private meal and you went over and...
That's the thing. I do think, oh God, if you ever got to that level of fame, you just have to be nice.
Yeah.
You have to be nice to everybody.
I know. But
everybody.
And also she's married to Patrick Keelty, who seems like a laugh. So she's probably...
Yeah.
She's probably quite fun.
I always find it so funny that she went to America for a bit.
So strange.
Do you know she's been nominated for several Emmys? Emmys.
For what?
Presenting.
Oh, come on.
It wasn't like best Brummie in America. It was like... and lastly, how do you feel when you go into a Greggs and the woman behind the counter, she hands you a sausage roll, says, "Enjoy that, darling"?
I feel horny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about, and I don't mean this, I'm not saying this to comment on her body, sort of like a busty woman.
Oh, well, that's what I was imagining.
A busty woman handing you a meaty treat.
Like you, like...
And it's just when she goes like, "Darling," it does something.
I used to work in Greggs. That was my Saturday job when I was a teenager.
Did you?
And it's the best job I've ever had.
And did you have massive jugs? No, that's too rude. That's too rude.
I absolutely did not. Sadly, that's something I've never been able to achieve. But my friend who worked with me did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so maybe they were like, well, we've got her, so we can also have her.
Well, you could have done that. You could have done like the yum yums, the pudding sign, and she can handle the meat.
Yeah, I mean, I do think. Yes,
I'm so sorry. I just asked about your breasts.
Please do if you're watching, rate them. Yeah, it was it was a very high pressure. If you came in and you were doing the pasties in the oven, you were on Bake Off.
Really?
And it was literally like you need to sort of get all the trays in.
Hard time cut off.
And I still absolutely love Greggs. Although I do think, they've not got as extensive a range as they had. They used to do like fresh bread and stuff when I worked in it.
Yeah.
And they used to do macaroni pies in Scotland, but now they don't.
No, because you can get them from, I guess, more local bakeries.
I've actually got to go and quickly get one after this before they close. I've just realised.
I will recommend the bakery up the road for a good pasty.
What's that? Pie maker?
No. It's called More
Oh, okay.
for a Cornish pasty.
Oh, okay, right.
Like a traditional.
And you're Cornish.
I am indeed.
Lovely.
I am indeed. So that's high accolade. Listen, Alex/Alexandra. I just looked because I got your name written down.
It's fine.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. This has been. I was going to say restorative. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh,
I went to say rhetorical.
The wait for that adjective. Imagine something. This has been roughly 50 minutes. Before you go, is there anything that you'd like to plug? Where can people find you on social media?
Oh yeah, I've just finished the bulk of my sort of mini tour, but I am doing one London date with Adam Flood at the end
stunning.
in
Lovely.
Moth Club at the end of May. But if you follow me at Alexandra Haddow, like Shadow, no S, 2 Ds, the only double Ds in my life, you'll find everything on there,
Everything's on there,
including my hatred for trains. And please sign my petition. It's still out there.
We'll get it up to, I think, 20.
It's against Avanti West Coast. Yeah,
Just that
if we
one.
could get,
Just that
if we could get it up to 20, that'd be amazing.
Great. Let's make it happen.
Thank you so much.
You can follow the podcast at I've Had a Rosé on everything. And you can follow me at Mr. Sam Lake. We'll see you again soon for another episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye.